What's up, YouTube? This is going to be a second video of mine. It's going to be covering Jake Tapper's Original Sin, a book that he just came out with in 2025, where he covers Joe Biden being old. To me, it read more like he was in a Catholic confessional confessing his soul, because during Joe Biden's presidency, he, of course, covered up for Joe Biden being old, which was obvious. The book is impressive in that he writes 19 chapters literally on that one topic. Joe Biden is old. This was very obvious if you had to work paycheck to paycheck and you have to worry about rent and you have to worry about groceries. This thing, Joe Biden being old, dead obvious. You didn't have time to speculate. If you have to, again, worry about bills, you don't have time to speculate on things like that. If you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, it seems like you can, it's a little bit harder to figure out, especially a journalist. If you're a really rich journalist, it's hard to figure it out. Now, for Jake Tapper, however, like I said, this reads like a confessional. So it's like secretly he always knew and he just couldn't get it, get over it. So he's writing his book to tell us that he did realize it, that Biden was old. Anyway, moving on. I'm just going to get into it. Original Sin has 19 chapters. Starts out with an opening. He quotes anonymous people a lot in this book, a lot. So either people are telling him stuff, they're too scared to go on the record, which I believe because it makes Joe Biden look like he's this terrifying old person, like a Scrooge, and also very weak and fragile at the same time. So it's very interesting how he captures both, like, contradicting things onto Joe Biden. Pollster told Joe Biden lies. So that's easy. This is all in his opening. Can't believe public opinion of Democrats. Can't believe public opinion of Democrats. So honestly, when a Democrat goes on television and says something, you can't believe them, because in this book, it shows that they have all this behind the scenes. I really meant this. I really mean this. It's anonymous people. Some of them he does name, but I don't remember all their names. But so essentially, just take that, what you can with that. If they go on to CNN to talk about something, don't trust it. If you read their behind the scenes opinion, that have some confidence in that. That's really what they feel. Essentially, Joe Biden is old. Original Sin is Biden deciding to run again. That's what he says the original sin is. So no cliffhangers there. And people hiding his decline. So they hid his decline. I don't know from who, because the people who have to live paycheck to paycheck, they definitely noticed his decline. We talked about it and mocked him a lot on that. Harris too loyal to challenge him. So that's something you learn in the book, why Harris didn't want to divert, which again, paycheck to paycheck, Democratic voters, if we figured that out, we still supported Harris mostly out of, I think a lesser harm was the best argument I heard for her. I couldn't really make any better ones. Every argument that you could make that was better was esoteric to the average working voter. Like, most people don't care about CNN at all that are in my demographic. So there's that. So boring. It is a boring book. I did put that. Doesn't mention beheaded babies lie. So there's he just doesn't cover Israel. So that's why I really don't watch CNN. Mostly how they cover protest is ridiculous. How they allow so much lies and liars to consistently come on air. Because I don't have time to be lied to, and people like Scott Jennings and others, I don't even go through the list, are lying. And if they're not lying, the breaking news segments, it's like, how are you supposed to know when you're not there it's currently breaking? So I'm just getting your opinion. And these people, like I said, it's just not that informative information. And worse is it seems to be like it runs cover for Israel, which is a foreign country. So that seems to be like really sus, as the kids would say. So it is a boring book. No self-reflection. So he does not self-reflect and say, oh, I got this wrong. This is why I was lying to you guys. This is why it's everyone else was lying but him. See the Lord Trump interview, which I'm going to try to post a link to that so you can see how he interviewed Lord Trump during the presidency of Biden. Biden's infrastructure bill. So he says this is an accomplishment of Biden. But see, my thing is about what I understand about how that bill and any accomplishment that came to the working class, it was Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders doing that part of the government, essentially, because Biden was so smooth-brained and fragile and on it, like his memory, short-term memory was losing it. So I was always expecting that he was delegating a lot of these things, the presidential activities. So that's just me, who works paycheck to paycheck. And I just had faith that he had better people to delegate to than Donald Trump would. So top aide said his decision-making was sound. So his top aides, you would think this was criminal, right? You're manipulating the president of the United States and the American people. It's like they know he's fragile. They know his memory is lapsing. They know he could be manipulated and that he's going to need to take a nap a lot. So they're using that to get their individual agendas through. So that to me is criminal, is that we didn't vote for these top aides, the so-called Politburo, as a freaking, what's his name calls it. So, chapter 1 was called He Totally Fucked Us. So, Tapper cusses. He cusses a lot in this book. The book is, again, very boring. Chapter 2, Get Up. that's what chapter 2 is called. So it's like the backstory of Joe Biden, how hard he had it in the 40s. Biden had a quote on Obama that was slightly racist. So Joe Biden was born in 1940, guys. If you read about that time, I like to read about the 60s and the civil rights era, so I'm like obsessed with that currently. But the 40s, no better. Some would say even a little worse. So Biden's greatest strength, living in own reality. Jake Tapper. I guess it's like, was CNN saying this during his run when he was going against Bernie Sanders? His greatest strength is he lives in his own reality. No, they ran cover for him, and he does that, a lot, So what's hidden from his own staff, so his own staff couldn't even find him. So that's another thing about elderly congressmen is it's like their staff are the ones really running the show, because these elderly people are some even in nursing homes, like completely with dementia. So and voters aren't aware. So he was hidden from his own staff in the White House. So I guess that's how they hit it. Anyway, chapter 3 is called the Politburo 2020. Politburo. So Bo died and he supported Israel. I guess is what I got from that chapter. Lied about Bo's health. So they lied to the public about Bo's health. And I guess that's what my point about him supporting Israel is, like, it's hard to have empathy for a guy who just goes out there and says, I'm a Zionist. Like, I didn't know presidents would take a stance on a foreign country so strongly like that. I just am like, maybe we should dial it back a little bit, like not on live television, maybe only in the background type of thing. Like, even then that's bad, but still, that was just crazy to me. And then you want us to feel bad about Bo, which no love lost. That seems like divine something, God trying to send you a message, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to put that on him. So pray for Bo. Hopefully he's in a better place. So he lied about Bo's health. So they lied up to the voters about Bo's health. Mike Dannon, Steve Buscemi, and Bruce Reed make up the Politburo. So I'm just like, I wrote those names down because I'm like, are those criminals, right? Should they not be on the news a lot, or at least mentioned more in Congress? Like, we got to hold these guys accountable for these gaffes and using this old man to get these whatever, essentially allowing this genocide to continue in the Middle East. Couldn't keep his attention long enough to accept in secret. So anytime there's a transcript of the discussion, his memory lapses and he can't keep his attention long enough. He keeps repeating stories. However, Jake Tapper says in secret, he's very sharp. In secret meetings are very sharp, but there's no evidence of that. So that's just something he says. He's secretly very sharp, but he just can't prove it. As soon as the camera comes on, as soon as you look at him, he's visible again. Lied about videos. So all those little videos where it showed him old, he would sit there and say, they would run cover. They were trying to, so essentially it gives Fox News credibility. It gives the right a ton of credibility when they were talking about old. But I'm like, everyone knew he was old. So who were they lying to? Who were they fooling? And it was the $100,000 making journalists at CNN, MSNBC, or whatever, Chapter 4, the Bidenness. He always said stupid things. I guess is the Bidenness of it. So it's like, that's how they were able to mask it. Media sane washed as gaff. So hard to tell if he just became more stupid. So they're just like, he always says stupid things. Is he becoming more stupid? What does that say about him as a vice president? What does that say about a senator? He's always said stupid stuff. And currently now he has dementia. And they're just like, we can't tell if he's even dumber yet. Not until the debate. Chapter 5. So clearly not much. Some of these chapters are really short. So not much in them. And again, aggressively boring. I do not recommend buying this book. I'm only buying it to just go through it out of fascination, out of YouTube content, and just kind of still feel where I'm going with this channel. So chapter 5, I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. do solemnly swear 2021. So that's the title of chapter 5. As soon as he became president, made big mistake on House floor. So the very first thing he did was make a mistake on the House floor. So it started off with gaffes. Gave little reason for Afghanistan withdrawal, which I'm like, what reason do you need to withdraw from Afghanistan? Like, you should have to give reasons to be there. You should have to have really good reasons to do these things. Like, well, you didn't give good reason to go. You didn't go. Why are we not colonizing that area still? You didn't give good reason. Huh. It's like, why are you over there? Oh, I don't need a reason. Because we got taxpayer dollars. America, freedom, reasons, Constitution. Anyway. Jill Biden bathing suit stunt. She said no in 2003. So I guess he mentions a bathing suit stunt. I don't know how interested I am in looking up Jill Biden in a bathing suit. So if you want to know, that exists from 2003. She did this. Maybe there's a picture. I don't know. Hunter Biden slept with brother, wife, and did narcotics. So my thing is, with Joe Biden being a smooth brain, easy to manipulate, his son can easily manipulate him, does narcotics, is trifling. is mad trifling. You know, slept with his brother's wife, and brother died. Whatever I have to say about the family of Biden, Hunter Biden has disrespected far worse than I could say and words could ever in the actions that he committed. So that is fascinating. Ashley Biden does drugs. So another one of his kids does drugs. Fascinating about this is Joe Biden wrote the crime bill in the 90s. He's responsible for a lot of African-American people, black people being arrested, in jail, spending longer times in jail, ruining a ton of families. So there's that. He's so anti-drug, war on drugs, and then his own family does drugs. He pardons them, forgives them. So this is why he's a disgrace. This is why it was a disgraceful president. This is why he shall be shamed. And, you know, there's nothing real of value. Anything of value was not worth the consequences, essentially, here. Anyway, they promoted Ashley Biden does drugs. Biden signed crime bill. Oh, I remember that. They promoted people loyal to family, not to the presidency. So, I mean, I guess to me, it's like you hear about this with Trump a lot, which is true. Absolutely true. Did you hear about it a lot with Biden? You heard a lot about Trump during Biden's presidency, in my opinion, from what I remember, on mainstream media. That's why it's hard to watch mainstream media. I always watch like breakdowns or whatever, like Majority Report, something like that. So, but yeah, so they were doing essentially what Trump was doing. So that's where the presidency is now currently, right? The idea that the next president will change that, well, let's fingers crossed, I guess. Hunter Biden manipulated him. How much was he paid? Yeah, Hunter Biden was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for his paintings. I didn't even look up the paintings. I'm sure they're trash. There's no way he paints hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, those were bribes. And you know, allegedly bribes, right? Because when you're in the working class, you don't have time to, I don't know. It just, I guess allegedly he was being bribed through the paintings, but we'll never be able to prove that because of the disgrace that Joe Biden is. So Michelle was friends with Hunter Biden's ex. So that was interesting. Out of all the book, that was probably the best bit of tea is this little soap opera here with Michelle Obama and the Obamas and Biden. They don't like each other. Biden thinks Obama should have endorsed him over Hillary and holds a grudge. So there's that. And they still have drama over it. Biden's not letting it go. And I mean, Biden's not getting any younger. He's going to die with that grudge. And it's like he probably can't let it go, you know, type of thing. You know, when you get to a certain stage, yeah. Especially, yeah. So moving on, Democrats, zero credibility on cognitive decline. So when they talk about Trump's decline, I mean, I'm talking about elected Democrats like Buttigieg, the ones that endorsed him, Klobuchar, I should really learn how to say these names, but so just previously the ones that endorsed him in 2020, they have no credibility on when they talk about cognitive decline because they're two team sport. So how will we know if cognitive decline is bad? Why are you so supportive of it? You know, why do you use it when it benefits you? You know, like maybe, I don't know. And it's hard to blame any one person for what seems like a small amount, like the Politburo, the donor class of very wealthy elites, you know, that are controlling and manipulating this party. You know, and they have to do what they say. And a foreign country, of course, which I think definitely probably had a lot to do with this. A lot to do with Joe Biden. Anyway, chapter 6, most privileged nursing home in the country is what that is titled. So Kate Granger is a Texas congressperson voted at 81, then put into assisted living. Barely covered on MSN. No accountability, family kept getting checks. So they talk about fraud in the government when it comes to food stamps, housing, or just being homeless. But this congressperson is in a nursing home and their family is collecting checks, and we have no new laws on that. You should have to work if you're in Congress. You should, in getting checks, you should have to work. You shouldn't have to work if you need food stamps. All right, we should switch that around. That is insane. Of course, because it was a Texas congressperson. I'm assuming pro-life. You know, I'm assuming pro-Israel. I'm assuming, you know, can't stand people coming across the border from the South. So that is crazy, but no accountability. That's how it's played. Politician is too fun, old, life boring. So that's the one reason why these old politicians refuse to let it go, is it's too fun. They are nobodies. They are nothing, and they will be spat on. They will be shamed in the streets. They will be mocked and ridiculed. They cannot face real life. And the media, it's a continuous high that they're on. So that's why they don't want to let go. That's why Nancy Pelosi is lasted so long. Why Chuck Schumer is still there. Why, I don't know. Because I'm like, the country would be so much better if those relationships that they say, it took us forever to build the relationships together with this person. If those relationships were dead, gone, just out of there, just not, we don't need there is no value, right? We've been able to do things in this country despite those relationships, not because of. Right? Congress is such a freaking crap show. It's because you guys just all need to have a giant orgy. Get all the old ones, just a giant old orgy, and get out of there. Chapter 7, who else is going to do this 2022? MSM constantly lies to them. So in that bubble, truly believes it's only them. So MSM is like Scarborough is constantly like Jake Tapper is constantly lying to them. So they get this feedback loop. However, there is so much media. They are picking and choosing selectively what to listen to get that loop. But so they're able to live in a media bubble where they are doing good. They deserve to run for president again. Biden called for regime change in Russia. Sorry about that. Biden calls for regime change in Russia. So there's just plenty of examples of why our foreign policy is contributing to the global, just like an old senile president calling for regime change of a foreign country. Just by mistake, they're not the best country to call for one for. So it justifies a bit of Vladimir Putin's one argument for not the war, not what he's doing, but it justifies his position that America's aggressive. It's an aggressive thing that they have to defend themselves with. So it's like in some way run cover for them. But anyway, Biden calls for regime change in Russia. Biden said he'll use the military to protect Taiwan, which it's like it's a part of China. Some would say it is China. I would say it is China. It's like a Chinese state. That's like Texas. It's like Texas to me. It does a lot of deals for foreign countries, but is it its own country? From the history that I've read and how it's just like a bunch of people that didn't want to support communism moved over to this location. I don't buy into that too much. So to then send the military, like I'm sure, it just sounds insane to me as a working class person. Like that's a waste of tax dollars. And it's like if China were to send the military to protect Texas, or I don't know if I got it. That's a good analogy, but it does just like Biden's not even going to be alive long enough to see that war through. So why are you calling for this? Biden normalized hiding from the media. Liberal media covered for him. So all this stuff about Trump not doing anything, you can't. It's like they got their foot in their mouth because like, oh shoot, we let Biden do that and we said it was okay. And oh damn it. If only we were consistent. If only we had principles and we stood by them. But no, we don't care about wealth and power. Capitalism. We love it. Anyway, Biden quickly angered and offended. That's just the older you get. Scripted meetings. He was delusional. Is what people would say about him. So the meetings were scripted that they would have. So he wasn't really getting new information. They were really controlling the type of content he was getting. So that's called controlled consent, right? So that's how you get consent for all these policies or whatever policy. So anything that happened during Biden's presidency is despite Biden, essentially is what this book says. Trump only one wanting to hold Biden accountable. So that's supposedly how the media played it out, is that Trump was the only one who wanted to hold Biden accountable. And yeah, so that made the media look bad as they were trying to only talk about holding Trump accountable. Chapter 8, Dr. Biden. So this book will make you hate Jill if you don't already. She just does not seem like an ally to Democrats. It actually seems like she voted for Trump. Her and Joe Biden seem like they voted for Trump. Biden brain is so smooth, could be fooled by anyone, is what that chapter kind of gives out. Chapter 9, are we sure this is a good idea? 2023. That's chapter 9's title. Supposedly was holding Putin back and strengthening NATO. This is something that Biden was supposedly his greatest strengths were or greatest accomplishments while he was president. So supposedly held Putin back and strengthened NATO. All right. For what that's worth, because it's still happening and NATO seems all the weaker. But that's all Trump's fault now. So I'm sure. Did Biden get manipulated to run everything they say about Trump's doesn't compare? So yeah, everything they say about Trump, at least Trump seems to be like losing it, but he seems to be leading these people. He seems to be whipping them in a direction, in his shaping the world in his image, from the tariffs to the people he freed with the pardons, while Biden was being manipulated. So there's a difference, it just, everything you can say about Trump's decline does not compare to how Biden's decline was. Now, better policies came out of that, but out of Biden than Trump so far, but there's that. At least Trump seems to be manipulating everybody, even including the media. Classified information, Biden to prosecute. So her report goes over that, how Biden actually had classified information, which I was not aware of. So yeah, there's that. There's why Trump never got held accountable for his classified information. It just seems like they do that. All presidents do that. So, I mean, if anything, we should be going through Obama stuff, figuring out where he hid his stuff, and then Bill Clinton next. But yeah, so Biden hit it, but he was too smooth-brained because they were like, he's not going to be able to prosecute because he just can't keep a sentence. He'll talk about his son, he'll drift off. Trump, and then I also was like maybe somebody could have planted that evidence with him being so loose, but that's one hypothesis just to give Trump cover. But I'm like, I don't know too much about that. There's no evidence, of course. It's just one hypothesis, conspiracy I threw out there. But again, Biden, who knows? Maybe it's just something they all do and we're just now starting to crack down on. So classified information, Biden to Senate to prosecute. Trump bragged he had them, then refused to get them back. So they're trying to be like, the difference between Biden having classified and Trump having classified information is like Trump didn't want to give them back, so yeah, you're splitting hairs here. They both should be in jail, if you ask me. Put in a senior citizen jail. They could get treated better than any other jail, but they should be in jail and they should be disgraced. Take their pictures off the walls of whatever. Robert Hur, FBI, what it would do for Trump was evidence planted. Yeah, that was just what I wrote as a note. Was evidence planted, but I kind of don't. I think that, it had to be, just Biden it just seems like classified information in paper and documents make it everywhere. And it doesn't show criminal intent. It's hard to say because you don't know what the classified information is. And the government tends to classify things that I think we should know about, so who knows? So we should less classification on stuff. Biden referenced classified info to ghostwriter, and that's why they're trying to make me feel bad about Biden having it. It's like he told his ghostwriter about it, don't you? He's going to write a book with it, and he's going to make money from it. And they're like, all right, well, at least now it's out there. We should stop classifying stuff. Hunter had tax fraud, so that's one thing is that he evaded taxes. He used taxpayer money like he was using it to go fund trips and planes, and of course his paintings. So there's a lot of shady stuff along with the tax fraud. So they're not even paying taxes on top of this, so there's that, all that. Hunter belongs in jail, in prison. Shame journalists. So that's how Biden got out of it, by shaming journalists who covered it. And journalists was like, oh, well, that makes me feel bad. So I don't want to be, I want to be close to these guys. It's pathetic. All of it's pathetic. So that's chapter 9, still more. Biden is old and senile, repeating stories to donors. So every time he had a backroom donors, he would, a speech where he didn't have a teleprompter, he would repeat himself. POTUS bedtime was 5:15. So he went to bed early. So as much as they talk about how much Trump is golfing, 25% of his presidency, Biden was probably asleep for 75% of his presidency. Like, what are you talking about? Like, my thing is, it's not that Trump isn't bad. Focus on the policies. Don't focus on this nonsense, on their character, on their personalities. In fact, ignore them. Ignore the president. Focus on the policies and the consequences of the policies. Let the people know who's to blame. All right. We know better than Jake Tapper and whoever else wrote this stupid book. Jill is petty, so she's a petty person. You're going to end up hating her, like I said, if you read this book. Her interview, same day or day after October 7th. So Jake Tapper brings up October 7th as if it was the start of the Israel war or genocide against Palestinians. So that is not the case. So yeah, so terrible journalism here. And this is like it runs cover. Like Biden was so upset about October 7th, and just like, you're a monster. You're a monster. Like in 2020, Gaza was supposed to be unlivable. We are 5 years past that, and now we're bombarding it. And you are just now upset at October 7th. Biden, you don't care, right? Biden did not. He doesn't care. Jake mentions it like it started the war. Biden is very sharp unless you have the transcript. So that's just the claim. He's a sharp person behind the scenes, but if you have a transcript, never mind. Not in those. Right? Trump forgot groceries. Biden forgot when his son died. So Trump forgot the word groceries, thought it was a new term. Biden forgot when his son died. And they just denied, and lied. Chapter 10, Dean Phillips. Democratic establishment at front line of preventing democracy. So, yeah, because Democratic voters like myself wanted Bernie Sanders, a lot. And just a lot. And he almost won twice in the primary. The first time in 2016, there was like this thing where the delegates weren't to a meeting on time. Like there was a lot of shady things going on with how they got Hillary Clinton to win. Super delegates. It's esoteric. It's hard for us to talk about, and that's how they win. Is like you have to be very literate. Like I understand it when I read it, but to communicate it out is hard to simplify what happened. But shady shit happened in 2016, and how Bernie Sanders was winning in 2020, but then all the candidates dropped out and endorsed Biden at once, and then gave Biden a boost. And Biden is senile, so it was very shady how that worked out too. Like the puppet masters wanted Biden to win, and then how they picked Kamala because she was black, not because black people liked her. Anyway, so chapter 10, Dean Phillips, Democratic establishment. So that's essentially what that means, and that's what that chapter will show you, is that the Democratic establishment, the elites in the Democrat, they are the front line to stop democracy, your vote from actually meaning something, and you getting what you want, the healthcare you need and all that. Chapter 11, Hakeem Jeffries lies about Biden meeting with Ukraine. So Hakeem Jeffries, it's going to be the media's next star child. Like Nancy Pelosi dubbed him. He ate her coochie, I guess, allegedly. He ate it right, and now he is Speaker of the House. I guess. And this book will just show he's a pathetic leader and lacks leadership qualities and is a liar, is a consistent liar, as well as a Zionist, collects AIPAC money, endorses the genocide. Definitely does not say anything about it. So goes over her Biden too senile to prosecute. So that's chapter 11. He'll bring that up again. The book is boring. It is pretty repetitive too. So there's that. He's so mad at Trump, Biden crimes ignored. So there's media so mad at Trump, Biden crimes ignored. Hunter in jail push him to be aggressive, and Harris lied. They all lied for Biden. So when Joe Biden was like, her said that I forgot when my son died. How dare he bring that up? And when he did that speech, Jill and Hunter Biden was the one pushing him. So it's like they were getting a power trip because now they matter more. Now Jill's first lady, Hunter's like on drugs. Who knows what he's thinking? So they're just high all the time off this power. Hell is paved. So, and those people who covered for Biden had great intentions, good intentions, I should say, good intentions. You know, he's like their cover is it's a bad day. You know, he's had better days type of thing. But they had good intentions for covering him, and that led you guys straight to hell. They all lied for Biden. So hell is paved. Worried about her, attacks not rant. So that's one thing is Biden was more worried about her report than, you know, us in the working classes rant and what's going on with that. So that's where the priorities are for that presidency. Circle got smaller, so his inner circle got smaller and smaller as the presidency went on. So same thing's going on with Trump. As democracy seems to be declining, as America's empire seems to be falling, these stories are just very consistent. What was he on during State of the Union? So everyone seems to be in agreement that he was on something allegedly during the State of the Union when he was all hyped up. Also, Steven Spielberg directed Biden's taping. So all those little video recordings, Steven Spielberg, not all of them, but Steven Spielberg at some point had a hand in directing him. So chapter 12, D-Day, war with newspapers, example of how Biden attacked press. Biden looked older than World War II vets. So Biden attacked the press, just like Trump attacks the press. Now, it's whataboutism. I guess the hypocrisy to me and how the media covers it, how they ran cover for it, because it should have been unacceptable. All these presidents are unacceptable. And if there was consistency there, we wouldn't have this horrible back and forth. Like, well, you're the president, Trump is doing this. Well, Biden did this and you didn't say anything. Like, because it's ridiculous at this point. And it's hard for us in the working class, to be honest, because if we get our news from the media, mainstream media, and they're the ones running cover, it sounds like we're running cover. And all we're doing is sharing what we think we're being informed of, but we're actually being propagandized to believe. So moving on, chapter 13, the verdict. Biden felt guilty. Hunter manipulated Biden. So Biden felt guilty for his son. He said if he didn't run for presidency, the Republicans wouldn't be attacking him. So there's that. But Hunter Biden was a criminal. He was a drug addict with a gun. You know, somebody's brother's wife. These aren't crimes. I mean, the drugs one is a crime. Biden, you should be way more harder about the drugs on your family than you were on black people. That is crazy to me. Hunter did not believe himself to be an addict, is the court defense. So wealthy people have this way of manipulating the law by just rephrasing, you know, like talking themselves out of crimes. It's just crazy. So that's what's his defense. Hunter evaded taxes. So he brings that up again. George Clooney is the worst Batman. And it's not even because of the movie. It's because, like, he couldn't figure out Hunter Biden was old. It took him quite a bit. You know, I'm like, if it had been Val Kilmer, if it had been Christian Bale, they'd have been figured out. Kevin Conroy, been figured out. Adam West, been figured out. That is stupid. But George Clooney, he needs some time. Like maybe Biden's maybe he's young behind the scenes. Biden forgot him, by the way. Biden forgot who he was, the worst Batman. And you know what? We should. It's like, George Clooney, I love him. No, I don't. He's a brand. Immigration ban on asylum requests. So he did an immigration ban on asylum requests. So yeah, very cool how immigration is being applied. And just continue the cruelty of Trump, essentially. Chapter 14, the debate. Couldn't deny decline after that. So it was all out in the open. Examples in vague detail. Explains in vague detail. CNN policy for candidates to fact check opponents. So that's why CNN doesn't fact check because they expect the opponent to fact check. But it's a waste of time. You should know who these people are when you get to this point, going off of their voting record and their policies that they supported in the past. Chapter 15, the world reacts. Democratic leadership had their foot in their mouth after the debate because they spent all that time sitting there saying that Trump was, or Biden was cognitive and was sharp. But after the debate, they all looked like fools. And honestly, it was the whole time, the whole Biden presidency, they looked stupid. Because everyone could tell. It would took people who are very rich a long time to notice because they don't have to worry about rent. Hakeem Jeffries, calm is an intentional decision. So this is a quote from him. You know, so what are we supposed to do, Hakeem? Calm, intentional decision. You know, I gotta get the mannerisms of Obama if I'm going, like he's doing jutsu on us every time he talks, but it fails. Harris called Cooper a motherfucker. So there's that. She called him, Kamala called Anderson Cooper a motherfucker behind the scenes over an interview about the debates. So yeah, they look stupid and during debates, and they continue to look stupid. And they look stupid before the debates as well. Like no one even knew what Harris did, like outside of telling people at the border don't come. That was like all she really did. And I'm like, that's more than enough. Calling water a commodity, that was a lot. That was more than enough. You know, she just did bad, ridiculous things that I would hope we would get past those ideas eventually once all those people move on with their lives, move on to the next life. Chapter 16, The Bad Times, Friday, June 28, 2024. The Blue Dog Coalition. So I guess I want to look into what that even means. So there's that. It was mentioned Hakeem Jeffries' leadership is listen and to not give his opinion. So that's leadership from Hakeem Jeffries, is listen to everybody, keep your opinion to yourself. All right. Obama covered for Biden. So, you know, Obama's a liar, but I mean, Obama did the drone strike thing where it's like a Terminator in the Middle East where robots are going around killing all these people and blowing up school buses and shooting up weddings. Robots are doing this, and Obama is what kind of gave the green light to that. And not to mention, did he mention how what's going on in Gaza and accurately during his presidency, during the 8 years of his presidency? Because he should have definitely been a voice for the Palestinian people, you know, because this actually did not start on October 7th, and it actually it has been one-sided type of conflict. Like I said, it's been a genocide for 70 years, in my opinion, ever since the Nakba. That's when you did ethnic cleansing, that's when it became a genocide. And it clearly, we're breaking the record on genocides. Countless babies have been killed, Chuck Schumer, because of this genocide, Holocaust of Palestinians. Anyway, Tapper quote farms. So that's how he writes his book. He just grabbed random quotes from random people that, I mean, I guess I could look at each individual one, but it, you know, whatever. Examples of donors were upset. So voters being upset, who cares? Donors being upset. We got it. Shit needs something to change. All right. AIPAC is mad. Or I don't even know who the donors are. Like, but that should be literally on display on the website, who these people are who clearly influence the party so much. So we're still in chapter 16, The Bad Times. It was the longest chapter, and he's just confessing because I'm sure he didn't cover it the way he's writing about it now. Obama thought any advice he gave Biden would do opposite. So that's one thing Obama was like, man, he's gonna do whatever the opposite of what I say. That's the same thing Democrats say about Republicans, is they just do the or liberals say about conservatives, or it's used a lot. So, but Biden is an example of that with Obama, which I thought they were cooler than that, but no. There's a lot of sourness. Biden just couldn't get over Hillary Clinton. So Jill Biden Vogue cover. So she did a Vogue cover trying to cover in this article. I guess she was covering for Biden, but I'm like, who believes these lies? It's like when they lie, who actually sits there and believes them? It can only be that inner circle. Like in, I don't know, Pelosi and Obama wanted open primary. David Axelrod, is mentioned a lot. Oh yes, he's a liar. So, but Pelosi and Obama want open primary, which the primary was a joke, because you essentially had to vote for Biden. No one else had like any real mathematical chance of winning the primary, so that they had an opportunity and they just chose not to. So Democratic voters would need some same loyalty as Republicans to Trump. So in order for Biden to have won that election, they would need the same cult-like mentality towards Biden as they claim that Republicans have for Trump. Winning nomination justifies everything. So because Biden won, that justifies him being old and senile. Just like how when people are being kidnapped off the streets and Republicans are challenged on it, they're just like, well, you got to remember, Trump won the election. He won the popular vote. So like that's one way they justify anything. Claim NATO and checking Putin is greatest accomplishment, which sure, that's doing great so far. His greatest accomplishment has failed only 3 months into Trump's presidency, only 3 months after he left office. Clooney called out Biden. Schumer and Jeffries are pathetic. So it's like that one celebrity had more courage than Schumer and Jeffries. Pelosi, most skilled tactician of her era, is what Jake Tapper is claiming. And I'm like, the only thing that I've ever heard Nancy Pelosi do besides raising money and getting money is the healthcare bill, ACA, which forced everyone to have to pay health insurance. It didn't force health insurance to have to lower its prices and negotiate with them or anything like that. We just had to pay them. They did force them to accept anyone with pre-existing conditions. So there was value in it, but it was like the most barely anything you can do for healthcare. So it's still like, that's her only accomplishment. Like, you know, like, wow. Like, to me, like, forcing everyone to pay health insurance, that's one way to call it one. That's an accomplishment, I guess. Fetterman was the #1 supporter of Biden. So that guy, he reminds me of the dude with when you in Happy Gilmore, where he was playing golf and that freaking little golf thing went into the dude's brain. Like, that's pretty much Fetterman right there, man. You don't want to mess with him. He's a big dude. He seems like he has that president behind the scenes, and like they're scared of him. And he is not the brightest. And yeah, I don't know what but when he believes it, he believes it. And he was #1 for Biden. So that's what that has to say. It's like, if that's your #1 supporter, is Lurch, is like freaking Frankenstein. Yeah. Who is I guess Frankenstein was more intelligent than Fetterman. So take Frankenstein back. One of my favorite books. But he definitely was not the brightest. Who is the crowd cheering for Biden, by the way? That's one other thing. Is like, is he still able to get crowds? And people are like, yeah, well, he still got this crowd. So I'm like, who are these people? We need to really, really do some more, like, what goes on in the mind of a person that goes to a senile president's campaign. Like, you're cheering on the death of democracy, essentially. Like, this needs a different type of assessment. Biden aides thought Trump assassination would boost his numbers. So they're like, damn it. Only when someone tried to assassinate Biden, it would be #1. Like, all right, sure. And like, my thing, I thought that was the most sketchiest. Like, it to me looked like he bladed his ear. But real people died in the event, so it's hard to say it was anything but what it was. And no, you can't trust the media, who would do the investigation, because they're still saying Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Over $1 billion goes to political advertising. So like, over enough money to end child starvation, end probably homelessness, give everyone health care, goes to just advertising for these one party's campaign. So there's just the flaw in capitalism is one there. That's one good example of why capitalism is failing here. Is like, more money goes to telling people I'm going to help you than helping people. Biden horrible endorsement of Kamala, protest vote waste to me. So Biden did a horrible endorsement of Kamala. He actually wore 2020, but the only reason I still voted for Kamala and I still voted for Biden is, it was harm reduction. They're less harmful than Trump. And it was like a math equation. If they're the only ones that can mathematically win, so if anyone else, it's just me protesting. And a protest vote, to me, is like throwing it away and is a waste. Like, I might as well not even go vote as well. So that's just how I break it down. I do see people's arguments. I just don't support them. That's my argument for why I voted for that person. Chapter 17, joy is what that's called. Kamala distinguished herself from Biden, would be disloyal. So that's why she didn't want to distinguish. I'm sure he mentioned that before. So it's very repetitive. Supposedly disagreed on Israel. Kamala supposedly disagreed on Israel, but there's no evidence. That's kind of why I'm like, I got to start posting videos now, because I could say what I have to say about Israel. So there's evidence that it was said by me, and everyone should be saying what they have to say about Israel now, before either we win or if we lose, and we should be taking the arrow and the target now. Were they scared or just pity him too much? Because we still got free speech. Anyway, were they scared or just pity him too much? They say they were scared of Biden and hurting his feelings, or they just had too much. It's hard to tell which was which with Biden. Biden wore a Trump 2024 hat, and then the Puerto Rico joke upset him. But I'm like, Puerto Rico is a colony. We need to allow that country to be its own country and break off our foot from its economy and pay up reparations for all the crimes against its society, like the whole birth control thing. We need to really start, like, if you want it, your feelings ain't hurt yet, Biden. You don't really care about Puerto Rico, Biden. So stop lying. Chapter 18, out the door. So right when he left, he pardoned his crackhead son. So I just wrote that down. That's pretty much chapter 18. Very short and sweet. Chapter 19, conclusion. The conclusion essentially is Joe Biden was too old to be president. So that is Jake Tapper's Original Sin. Boring book. Jake Tapper should be ashamed of his journalism. No one should be watching CNN. There is no value there. You should find independent media sources on a wide variety. Get some on the right. Don't really listen to Ben Shapiro's. Listen to people who do analysis on the right. That way you can get fact checked in there. And listen to some Majority Report. Listen to who else do I like? Arian Brown is pretty funny, but those aren't journalists really. I just suggest you read. Not Jake Tapper's book. Read like Naomi Klein, Angela Davis, Norm Finkelstein. Read these types of authors. So I'm hoping to cover those types of books now. Or next week is books that I actually like. I just wanted to cover this one because it's in the media. I was interested to see what he had to say, and it's not very much. It's not for the working class. If you have to work paycheck to paycheck, live paycheck to paycheck, do not buy this book. Do not even give it a second glance. Take this video, and just what you learn is that you can't trust CNN, Jake Tapper, or the public face of anybody. You have to go behind the scenes, look into articles. What are they saying behind the scenes? So that's my video. Thanks for checking out. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to cover next.